Hello everybody and welcome to today's vlog. I thought I would come and do a little bit of an intro preamble to this video because it's actually going to be the first in a series of 6 or 7 to the wonderful continent of Africa. In this trip of about just over 2 weeks, we covered 7 different countries at the time, anyway, a couple of months ago, and I've been naughty. This is very, very delayed. One of the continents that I haven't really traveled as far and wide as I'd like to, but it's so culturally diverse and so interesting and highly underrated, might I add, is that of Africa. So we started our trip in South Africa. The vlog that you're going to see today is actually starting in Johannesburg. We made our way up to Kruger, through to Botswana, then through to Victoria Falls. That part was actually done with a tour company called Intrepid Travel. And then when we were at Victoria Falls, we jumped over very easily to Zambia, which you will see in an upcoming vlog. Then shortly after that, we visited 2 countries that I honestly never thought I would visit in my life, but they sounded so interesting from the research that I did, and that was Rwanda and Uganda. And then finally we ended up at the iconic Giraffe Manor in Kenya. It was actually the purpose of this whole trip. We totally forgot that we booked Giraffe Manor about 1.5 years ago, so we had to plan a trip around that. But that is also why I wanted to, pay it forward and share this experience in the form of some useful vlogs for you guys. I did film the rest of the footage on my iPhone, so if it's shaky cam, if it's not as high quality, and also given that I haven't really spoken to the camera in a vlog style way for quite some time, if not ever, bear that in mind, okay? Constructive feedback is welcome, but if you're just a hater, I don't know what to say. You're just sadistic. But let me stop talking. Let me get straight into the video. Alright, so you're going to get a bit of voiceover Mel for the majority of this video, as I'm still not quite there yet when it comes to public vlogging. We've essentially condensed down what was a very long 13-hour direct flight to Johannesburg. As soon as we touched down and refreshed ourselves, we got some steers, which is a fast food place that my boyfriend really wanted to try again. He loved it a lot and it was great. Then after that, we went to the Rosebank Arts and Craft Market. We just went around the Rosebank area really, as that's the hotel we were staying at. And as you can see, this is a selection of what you can expect at the market. Sadly, we didn't pick anything up because nothing quite tickled our fancy, to be honest, and the prices were quite high. You do need to haggle, but I thought it would be an interesting experience to show you guys. And then of course, we're just walking around looking to grab a little bit of dinner. And after seeing some reviews online, we saw the grill house looked absolutely incredible, so we wanted to give it a try and look at this interior. It's just amazing, and you'd expect the food and the prices to be so high, but actually it was like less than £20 a head, which was incredible, and the portions were huge. Now you can see we've fast forwarded straight towards our tour, and we actually got a tour of the Soweto township, the Nelson Mandela House, museum, etc. Because as diverse and rich in culture as South Africa is, there's a lot of tragic history to it, and a lot of it happened in Johannesburg. And as you can see here, we wanted to show you the real, quote unquote, Johannesburg. These are some of the shanty towns, I guess, that they lived in, and you can tell it's not really like the Cape Town characterization, whereas a lot of their people still live in poverty. And here you can see we learnt about the Hector Peterson Memorial and the Soweto uprising that happened in 1976. We got a lot of background to that event and about apartheid as well. After we drove through the city a little bit more, we then went to the obviously must visit Apartheid Museum. So it was really eerie to see, the official ID cards, the characterizations, and the real faces as well that were affected by apartheid, and how jarring it is to think that this nation, which has come together all in one right now, used to have a history like this. Well, we just looked at all the exhibitions, most of them, isn't it? We still got some more of the Apartheid Museum, and I don't think I'll be able to do it justice, but it was just incredible. There's a lot of very sad history, but it's important to remember, isn't it? Where you come from, and to have the virtues of a very peaceful man after that many years in prison. It's just incredible. And just like that, our half-day tour is over. Just in case you're interested, we'd booked our half-day tour on Viator. That's where we book all of our travel, and we were really happy with our tour guide. But now it's time to go and get some lunch and do a bit of shopping.
moments later.
So we are in Hyde Park Corner Shopping Centre. We just finished our wonderful tour, but we just saw there was a pet store for our darling Pebbles, so we're going to check that out and hopefully get her a little souvenir.
Fellow dog owners will probably get this, but anytime you see a pet store, especially when on holiday, you just have to go in and buy a little something for your sweet angels. So we did just that. There were so many toys and things, so we left with some of those and some treats. And then, to be honest, we just walked around aimlessly, not really looking to get anything, but we stumbled upon this amazing biltong stand here, and oh my goodness, was it heaven. And the prices were insane. So needless to say, we went a bit mad, and this is what we got.
So we just bought our body weight in biltong. Guess the price, my people. Guess the price. £31
for over 2 kilos of biltong.
It's nuts. We've got things for ourselves, things for friends. Like we've got drawers of different flavors and little biltong packets as well. And then we also got some fresh ones. And then somewhere in here is something for our dog. Pebbles. Now we're gonna go and do something for ourselves.
Yeah.
Some cigars.
Because would this be a Mel video if we didn't find a cigar shop? Of course, I had to look one up in Johannesburg, and Copacabana was one of the best there. So we weren't disappointed, thankfully, when we arrived to see this amazing array of New Worlds and Cubans. Wasn't really going to film too much there as they were about to close, and I kind of find it a little bit awkward, but we did get a few goodies. Then, of course, we wanted to find somewhere to sit down, relax, and enjoy some of our haul. Here we're trying out the Davidoff signature. And of course, we wanted to accompany that with some dinner as well, as it was getting late. This restaurant is actually La Parada. It's a well-known kind of Spanish fusion restaurant, but I don't know what's Spanish about the sushi here. I'd say it's more world cuisine, and it was really, really delicious. Really big portions as well. I'm just not used to that in London. And the prices for what you get, given it's fresh fish and it's sushi, which is highly skilled, is incredible, and you'll hear us talking about that very, very shortly.
And how much is this in pounds?
£5.
£5.
Less than that.
Fresh tuna sushi, I mean, I'm in disbelief. So let's dig on in.
But of course, not before we got to enjoy some more of our cigars, and of course many drinks, because the mixology was insane there, as well as the prices. So we couldn't resist, especially before we knew there was going to be a big morning of travel. So we wanted to just enjoy and relax.
Early the next morning.
Good morning, everyone. It is 6:15 almost in the morning, and we are checking out for our Intrepid tour. Got all the luggages. Excuse the mess and excuse the hair. But now we're going to go down to reception and get ready for a long drive.
And so began what was an almost 10-hour transit journey. Yes, you heard that right, almost 10 hours. We got up about 4 a.m. or something. Though the drive was very, very beautiful, as you can see, super scenic, and we did make stops every couple of hours or so. But then we eventually arrived at the outskirts of Kruger National Park. We stayed at the Black Mambas HQ, and they're basically an all-female anti-poaching unit made up of 36 African women. They essentially patrol the over 20,000 hectares of the Bulule National Reserve, and that's part of the Greater Kruger National Park area. So we got to learn a lot about the work that they do there. We got to enjoy a bit of a sunset as well, which is awesome. Even saw a little cheeky giraffe on the way. We did a tour with Intrepid Travel. I think I briefly mentioned it a little bit earlier. They include at least 2 meals a day, and you have a chef on board, as well as obviously a tour guide and driver. So we really enjoyed the dinner by lantern light, and later on we set up the tent. This was very much glamping, I feel, because there was proper mattresses and duvets and things like that, so it was super comfortable.
The next morning.
And then the next morning, we got up bright and early again. I think this was maybe 5 a.m. or something like that. And we got on basically a full day drive to then go through the actual main part of Kruger. And of course, this is one of the largest game reserves in South Africa. It's got over 500 bird species, 100 species of reptiles, 150 mammal species. And of course, we were there to see the big five and a lot of the endangered animals like the African wild dog. Sadly, we only saw 4 of the 5 We didn't actually get to see the rhino, which I really wish we could have seen, because they're apparently everywhere in Kruger. We just didn't happen to catch them ourselves. But we saw some really cool scenes. We saw some leopards walking around, a lion doing a number 2, it looked like, as well as a pride of lionesses guarding a giraffe carcass, which was incredible to see. Obviously, it was a bit savage, but nonetheless, I wish we saw the hunt. It would have been epic, but we just saw them guarding and there was vultures around. We saw so many other animals. I will pause, obviously, the voiceover so that you can enjoy the views. And actually on this day, it was my birthday, so it was really cool to see so many of these endangered / famous animals to this park. So I was super, super happy. It was a grueling and long day, but super rewarding. We then got to have a little bit of a rest, of course, in between. Okay, we're currently at a rest stop for breakfast after the safari. Someone got themselves a little souvenir. And I think we're going to go back on another game drive, aren't we? So
Yeah.
let's go.
Minutes later.
And I've got to say, one of the highlights of the tour was our driver Simon's commentary. Not only was he knowledgeable, but he was just hilarious in the way that he was delivering lines. Fun facts for days.
So they'll go look for the rubbing post to rub themselves against that post. So that it ticks, that is already suffocated, then it's gonna fall back there. Unlike us, if we've got something itchy, we ask, my baby, can you help me?
Much later.
Then after it got to around 4 or 5 p.m, that's when our tour came to a close. We also got the opportunity to have some free time. So given it was my birthday, myself and my boyfriend went to the only shop in the campsite. We bought ourselves some biltong, which was incredible. And then we also had some drinks outside, just on the bench, people watching. But then, of course, a few hours later came dinner, but not before a cheeky cigar while we waited. And we were smoking an H. Upmann, which we just recently purchased, and I absolutely love this particular Cuban. Then we were gleefully tucking into the wonderful dinner that our chef on the tour prepared for us. We always look forward to her yummy cooking. And then afterwards came a bit of a surprise cake as well from my boyfriend, which then you can see I'm just splitting up for everybody on the tour. There's around 10 to 15 people in our group. And then we had some nighttime visitors as well, enjoying the fire, before we then headed out for our final activity of the day. Yes, there's one more. We went for a nocturnal night drive, and we had a park guide that, gave us all of these lights so we could go and hunt, I suppose, in quotation marks, the animals that would be around. We saw some really cool ones. We saw lions, we saw hyenas, some of them were napping with their babies, loads of impalas, hippos, as well as a sole elephant wandering alone. All in all, a fantastic day of game viewing and such a memorable way to spend my birthday this year. So the next vlog that you will see will actually document the journey from Kruger to Botswana. If this is on your bucket list to do, I highly recommend you go and do this, especially if you can get the tour organized for you like we did, even if it was grueling, because it just saves the admin of you having to organize it yourselves. Though what I would recommend is, if you can stay at Kruger for more than just one full day or 1.5 like we did, that would be better so that you can increase your chances of seeing some of the big five. But anyways, I will leave this video here. Thank you as always, and I'll catch you in my next one.